arms for today's meeting. First of all, I would like to welcome all of you to the first meeting in December brought to you by the Brunei Speakers Club. Next, I would like to touch on the history of Toastmasters. Toastmasters is an international non-profit organization founded by Dr. Ralph C. Smedley in 1924. As the Director of Education at the YMCA, Dr. Smedley saw a need for the man to learn how to speak, conduct meetings, plan programs, and work on committees. Therefore, he decided to organize a club where they could learn leadership skills and communication skills in a social environment. Moving on, I will recite the Toastmasters mission on behalf of everyone. The mission of Toastmasters is to provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. In Brunei, there are altogether 4 Toastmasters clubs. First, we have UBD Toastmasters Club. Their meeting is held every Monday. The second club is Brunei Speakers Club. Our meeting is held every Tuesday. Third, we have Otters Toastmasters Club. Their meeting is held every Wednesday. Last but not least, we have Brunei Advanced Speakers Club. Their meeting is held on the first Friday of the month. All the 4 clubs start their meetings at 7:30 p.m. and end at 9:30 p.m. In Toastmasters, every member is entitled to education pathways where they can work on a specific skill set to match their needs. There are a total of 11 pathways for the members to choose from. Should you require further information on this, please approach our Vice President of Education, Megat Arif. Next up is the house rules that every attendee must observe. First, please speak with courtesy and respect. Second, refrain from talking about taboo topics such as sex, politics, and religion. Third, please turn off your microphone at all times. You may unmute yourself when you are called upon or when it's your turn to speak. Lastly, let's give just hands instead of claps to show appreciation and support. Before I pass the control of the meeting to the host, I would like to invite the guests to introduce themselves. May I call upon, let me check, Christopher, to introduce yourself and share with us what motivates you to join us tonight. Over to you, Christopher.
Hi, good evening. My name is Christopher Lopez. I am from the Philippines and I am teaching at Sirimolia Sarjana International School. And I joined a Brunei Speakers Club around 9 months ago. So now I just wanted to rejoin because I want to learn more on how to speak fluently in front of audience.
All right, thank you so much, Christopher, for gracing us with your presence. Next, may I please call upon Flora to introduce yourself and share with us your expectations. Hi, Flora, are you there?
Hi, can you see me? Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Flora and I'm 16 this year. I'm from Chonghua Middle School and I found out about this Toastmasters meeting from my English teacher, Mr. Lawrence. And what I expect from tonight's meeting, definitely to hear different opinions and good advices from different speakers. And of course, to think in a different perspective and to learn how to use the suitable and right word to express my thoughts clearly to others when speaking. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Flora. I hope you will reap tons of benefits from this meeting. Okay, next. May I please invite Nicholas to introduce yourself and share with us what motivates you to join us tonight. Over to you, Nick.
Hi. Hello, everybody. My name is Nicholas Chong. I'm from Chonghua Middle School, Bandar Seri Begawan. I'm 16 years old this year, and I hope that I'm able to learn new things and gain more knowledge. I've never experienced anything like this before, so I'm more than happy to be part of this.
All right, thank you so much, Nicholas. Okay, last but not least, may I please invite Mariam to introduce yourself and share with us your expectations.
Hello, good evening. Let me first change my background to blur.
No problem.
Okay, all right. Good evening, everyone. So my name is Mariam. I'm older than Nicholas and Flora combined. My age is I'm older than that. Been working for a while. My expectation is I want to improve my public speaking. I want to be more articulate.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Mariam. I think we still have one more guest. Can I please invite Wafia to introduce herself?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Sorry, I cannot turn on my camera.
All right.
I have problem with that. Hello everyone. My name is Wafia. I'm the guest for BSC Brunei Speaker Club. It's been a while since I joined the Toastmaster, so yeah, I'm looking forward to what happened later.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
thank
right.
you.
Thank you so much, Wafia. I think that's all for the guests, right? Okay. For the benefit of the guests, there is a significant role in every Toastmasters meeting, which is the Toastmaster of the evening. The Toastmaster of the evening serves as the host of the meeting, introduces the role players and speakers. Today, one of our newest members took on the challenge to preside the meeting for the very first time. Please join me in welcoming our Toastmaster of the evening, Toastmaster Ying Ying.
Thank you, Lawrence, for that incredible introduction. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You may call me Ying, and I'll be the Toastmaster of this evening. So tonight, I am accompanied by Effective Communicator Level 1, Lawrence Powell, who you met just now, who will be the Sergeant at Arms for tonight, and Sharnur Nizam, who is a Persuasive Influencer Level 4 and Strategic Relationships Level 1, who would be our Zoom master for tonight. And together we'll be ensuring that everything runs smoothly and that all of you have a good time. So now of course, tonight wouldn't also be possible without the lovely role players we have. And first off, I'd like to introduce distinguished Toastmaster Alan Ang, who would be our table topic masters for tonight.
Thank you very much, Ying. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Alan, and I will be your table topic master. Now, for our guests who are wondering what is a table topic master, I would like you to imagine this. Earlier on, when our Sergeant at Arms asked you to introduce yourself, some of you would already have a script in mind. Some of you will be thinking twice what to say, and some of you will got yourself stunned, unsure of what to say even 2 minutes have passed by. These are scenarios or situations that we commonly find ourselves in when we run out of words to say. Hence, when you have a table topic session, you are given 2 minutes to speak on a topic that is unknown to you. So what it means is you would train on your skills to think on your feet and to be able to provide your feedback, opinions, or even comment on certain things that might be against your perspective as well. And the reason why we should be good with this skill is because right now, if someone were to ask you for any opinion, the worst thing that you can say is, I'm not sure, I don't know. So this whole and does not count as the R counter. It's for dramatic effect, so don't count that in. So that one, I would be So later during these sessions, I'll be giving out topics and questions, which I have 4 with me right now. I strongly encourage for all of you to try, especially those who are from Mr. Lawrence's class, because I heard good things about him as a teacher. So this is the best time to make your teacher proud, or you could bring him shame as well if you decide not to. So I challenge you to take it on. Right, so back to you, Ying.
Thank you, Alan. So if you guys are interested to volunteer yourself for the table topics, just drop your name in the chat, or you can private message Alan or myself. Next up, we have, of course, we would also be evaluating the speeches from our table topic session. And for that, we have distinguished Toastmaster Rano Iskandar. Can everyone give a show of jazz hands for Rano Iskandar?
Hi guys, thanks for the jazzy hands. Right, so today I'll be your table topics evaluator. Like Alan mentioned before, he's going to give you the topics, but I'll be giving the feedback. So basically, there'll be tons of things that I can look at. People will look at, let's say, your vocal, the tone, body language as well. But for me, it's hard to predict about body language because this is on Zoom, right? So I would say that I've been looking more into the structure of your delivery. So basically you will have maybe your opening, your content and conclusion. So I want to see whether it's easy to follow for the audience. And also, do you actually make a stance when you deliver your points? And hopefully if you're able to wrap up whatever you mentioned. So this is the things that I'll be looking for later on. I challenge all of you to see if you can create an interesting and easy to follow structure. I'll be back at the third part of the meeting. Back to you, Toastmasters of the evening.
Thank you, Rano, for that incredible introduction. Next up, we have the lovely Lai Ling Ling, who would be our grammarian for tonight. Lai Ling Ling is presentation mastery level 5 and a team collaboration level 1. So can we have a show of jazz, sorry, team collaboration level 2. So can we have a show of jazz hands for Miss Lai Ling Ling?
All right, thank you, Ying Ying. Everyone's met the Ying Ying, time to meet the Ling Ling. All right, Ling Ling tonight is the grammarian of the night. And as the grammarian, I'll be doing a couple of things during this meeting. The first is to introduce a word of the evening. And the word I have chosen for everyone to learn tonight or learn to use tonight is inception. We've all watched the movie. Now let's learn about the word itself. Inception is a noun and it means the establishment or starting point of an institution or activity. A couple of synonyms that you might be more familiar with are beginning, founding, origin, opening, debut. So with all these words available, why use inception? Because it's extremely cool and I've always wanted to use it in a sentence. So some examples of how to use it. Richard from Authors has been a member since its inception. Another one, 97 years after its inception in California, Toastmasters International has expanded all over the world. So I hope that in your speeches tonight, you find a way to worm in inception into every single one of them. That said, as you use the word today, I'll be taking note and I will give a report on who used the word and how they use it later on during the third part of the meeting. So that's my first responsibility. After that, I will also be taking note of the usage of the English language throughout the evening, exceptional or otherwise. So if you do really well, you might just get a mention. So looking forward to see what kind of grammatical uses people will be conjuring up tonight. All the best, everyone. Good luck. And back to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you, Ling Ling. Another Ying Ying. And next up, coming back for another role on another week. So this role player took on a role last week and she's back now with as the I'll counter and who said what. Please give a show of jazz hands to Dynamic Leadership Level 1, Adina Bidin.
Thank you, Ying Ying. I don't have a Ying in my name, but tonight I'm back as the I'll counter and who said what. My first responsibility will be to test my active listening skills by listening to all the ahs and the ums, as well as, there you go, there's one as well as any filler words such as like, basically, well, so, you know. So we tend to use these phrases and words when we are thinking or when we're trying to form sentences in our mind, these words don't actually have any meaning and tend to be overused and can be very distracting. So my challenge for you tonight is to try and be aware of your ahs and ums and try to reduce that. My second responsibility for tonight is the who said what section, and I will be testing your active listening skills by asking a couple of questions from everything that happened tonight, and we'll have fun later. I will provide my report in the in the third part of the meeting on the number of ahs and ums and the fun part. Back to you, Ying Ying.
Thank you, Adina. Can't wait for the quiz. Next up, we have also someone who took up the role last week and coming back for another role this week. We have Toastmaster Zainab Al-Kabani, who will be, again, our timer and tip for today. Give a show of jazz hands for Zainab.
Thank you, Ying, very much. So as a timer, what will I do is time the whole meeting to ensure everything runs smoothly and on time. So I'll be also showing the colors of green, yellow, and red, depending on the time that is left for the speakers to talk. So for the impromptu speeches, you have only 2 minutes to talk, while the prepared speeches will have 5 to 7 minutes. So I'll be showing green color on 1 minute for the impromptu speeches and 1 minute 30, and then 2 minutes is the red. Now the maximum time is 2 minutes 30 seconds. So try to wrap up at the yellow. For the prepared speeches, the green will be 5 minutes, 6 minutes the yellow, 7 minutes would be the red. And for my tip for you all is before you incept your speech, try to take a breath, try to see your content and organize the structure in your head. Imagine you're talking to your friends. If not, talking to the mirror and to yourself. And with that, back to you, Ying.
Thank you, Toastmaster Zainab. So everyone, please digest her tip for tonight, and hopefully you guys will implement it during your speeches. And lastly, the last role player that we have for tonight is the general evaluator. Please give a show of jazz hands for effective coaching level 3, Megat Arif.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, Toastmasters and guests. So I am your general evaluator for today. See, every Toastmasters meeting has a general evaluator. For the same reason, every school year ends has a report card, or every company has a year-end appraisal. No, I don't mean to scare people, but to see where we stand. As a general evaluator, my role is to evaluate the entire meeting today and give a comprehensive report on what went good, what didn't, and how we can improve. And I will be delivering that report during the third session of tonight, which is the evaluation session. And with that, back to Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you, Megat. So tonight we have 2 prepared speeches. We would have a speech prepared by Toastmasters Aqilah Shyaqifah, which would then be evaluated by Persuasive Influence Level 2, Tharwana Harun. Then after that, we would have another speech by Persuasive Influence Level 2, Edric Kinata, and he would be evaluated by Ted G, before that, we would commence with table topics, which would run for 10 minutes. Can you move on to the previous slide, Zoom Master? Thank you. So we'll start with table topics at 7:50, but we're a little over time. That's okay. Then after that, for the second session of the meeting, we would have the prepared speeches, followed by a short 10 minutes break. So we would also be having a group photo session during the break. So this is your reminder to be photo ready as we will be taking a group photo session shortly after the inception of the break. Then Finally, the third section of the meeting would be the evaluation section, which would hopefully start at 8:30, and then we'll move on to anything from our president at 9:10. Next slide, please. Now on to the thought of the day. So the thought of the day is by ancient Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu. So he once quoted that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So I chose this quote specifically for today because as I was planning for today's meeting, I was looking through my calendar and realized that it's December. It's almost 2022, and I'm sure a lot of you are groaning in the background. Time flies so fast. And I decided to look through at what my New Year's resolution was for this year to just see how I'm progressing through my goals. And surprisingly, I think I've done one of the goals that I set for myself is to improve my public speaking skills and to gain confidence in public speaking. And I would say that I've improved a lot because I remember being in my first Toastmasters meeting and I was that shy, awkward person who would always purposely sit at the back and not volunteer myself for anything. And I would refuse to go to a meeting without my buddy. And here I am today, here on my own account for my own personal growth. And sure, I still get a little anxious and jittery during meetings, but that only means that my journey has not ended and I have more steps to follow. So do take a minute to reflect on how your year has been. Give yourself a pat in the back if it has gone well, and if it's not what you think, if your year hasn't been going the way you think it is, you hoped it to be, that's okay. That means your journey has not ended. It's still a journey. Next slide, please. So now we will commence with the table topic session. And for this, can I invite distinguished Toastmaster Alan Ang to lead?
Thank you very much, Ying. Good evening again, everyone. Let's get the ball rolling. We have 4 to 5 very interesting questions. I'm pretty sure that I'll put you on a hot seat. So let's start off by having our first sacrifice. Who would like to raise your hand to show us how it's being done? Going once, going twice. I see Amma raising his hand and I see Tawana raising her hand. So we got 2. Let's have another 2 more. I want to make sure we get all the speakers first before we go on with it. So you can't say that, oh, later, I wish I would have raised my hand. You have another chance. 2 more volunteers. Rano, I wish you could go, but we won't be able to let you. So we would have, should have one of Lauren's student coming in. So all the Lawrence students, please get ready. I don't know who I would pick. So just let your heart pump for a little while, right? So you'll be the 3rd speaker. So, and then we'll have Christopher as the 4th speaker. All right, so let's start with Amar. Right, Amar, would you like to unmute yourself? So I have 4 questions here with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. What's your number?
I'll pick my lucky number 2.
Number 2. All right. So your topic is about uncommon advice. People usually say, step out of your comfort zone. But now I would like to say, don't step out of your comfort zone, expand it. Amar, don't step out of your comfort zone, expand it.
All right. Assalamualaikum, everyone, and good evening. Let me lower down my hand for a little. All right. So the question I got was, don't step out of your comfort zone, but rather expand it. Now, this is a very interesting statement, and I think I quite agree. So have you ever heard of the saying, diamonds are not created without pressure? This is a fact. And this also applies to people around us. If you don't face the challenges around us, there's a less likely chance that you would grow to an even better and even more wise person. So to grow throughout these challenges, you need to be placed in a zone where you are not so comfortable, in a zone where you're not so sure of what's going to come in every corner. And getting used to these impromptu situations, you tend to expect the unexpected. And once you are more accepting towards these kind of situations, you tend to remain more calmer. You tend to remain more knowledgeable in certain situations, and you try to move with the flow, they would say. So don't try to escape the uncomfortable zone, but rather try to expand it. Get used to it. Ensure that you can ride with the flow. And that is all from me. Back to you.
Just hand, everyone, to Amar. Just hand. Well done, Amar. So don't worry about expanding the comfort zone. Ride the floor. That's that advice from Amar. All right, next we have Tarwana. Tarwana, please unmute yourself. So,
I'm ready, Alan.
What number do you have? 1, 3, or 4?
Number 4, please.
Number 4. Okay, number 4. It's about an opinion. Public speaking skill is overrated. We need more listener, not speaker. Let me repeat. Public speaking skill is overrated. We need more listener, not speaker. Tarwana.
Good evening, everyone. So Alan mentioned public speaking. Public speaking skill is overrated. We need more listeners, not speakers. I think with due respect, public speaking is a very important skill and quite a difficult skill. And it can be deemed overrated in the sense that in our current situation or environment, there are a lot of us who are public speakers or are learning to be public speakers. We have an importance that we put on the ability to public speaking. However, the second point is we need more listeners, not speakers. Is this really true? If you really think about it, when people give out speeches, it's only that one person on stage and thousands or maybe hundreds or maybe even 4, 5, 6 listeners. But here, I think what we mean is not just listeners, but active listeners or mindful listening. Speaking is one thing, but being able to absorb and grasp what is being said and apply it to how we need to in our daily lives is, I think, the most important skill. That's what the two skills have in common. Public speaking, yes, but how can you relate that to your daily life? Listening, yes, that's a skill, but how can you relate that to your daily life? So I would never say that any of these skills are overrated and that you would need more listeners. I think there's an abundance of listeners. And yes, true, an abundance of public speakers. But here, I would think, or I believe, that it's the ability to apply these skills on a daily. I think I'm okay for time. And back to you, Toastmaster, the table topic master.
Thank you very much, Tawana. Let's give her a jazz hand. So it's not about a speaker or not about a listener, it's about the authenticity. So what's the intention of you speaking while listening? Great. Next, we would have Mr. Lawrence's student. And suddenly, they turned off all their video and I couldn't see their face. But they say, I'm blessed with a good memory. I could only remember a girl introducing herself as, I'm only 16 years old. And I got a little bit offended because I'm a little bit older than 16 times 2 and have to plus 4 some more. Okay, so let's have Flora. Are you there, Flora?
Hi, I'm here, but I don't think I'm ready.
Don't worry. Lawrence told me that he will not grade this into the exam into your subject. So don't worry about it. And if you do well, he might give you extra 3 points. Okay?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, this is something very close to you. I want to hear your opinion.
Okay.
Right, this is an opinion, Flora. We should ask our students to repeat their grade when their results are not ideal. We should ask our students to repeat their grade when their results are not ideal. What's your opinion on this? Over to you, Flora.
To repeat our grades when our results are not ideal. To my understanding of repeating our grades can be to repeat our grades when our results are not ideal. Can I say maybe work harder and do better when our results are not as good or on the standard to what our teacher hope we have. I think I would say a teacher's responsibility is, of course, to encourage the students to expose to more things to help them to achieve a better result, such as what Mr. Lawrence is doing right now. Like, he encourages us to come and join these meetings so our grades can be better. So I feel like it is right to encourage a student to make sure that their grades are on the level and encourage that their students are always, how do I say, up to the line, which of course makes the teacher proud. But of course, indirectly, they're actually trying to help us. And I understand that sometimes it may be because the students aren't very, how do I say, motivated to learn or to reach a certain standard that the teacher hopes the student will have. But definitely, it is important that we are, how do I say, accepting what the teachers are giving us. And we are eager to try before doubting ourselves or before thinking that we can't do it, but we aren't even trying in the first place. So to repeat ourselves, I think it is the right choice to do. And I think what the teachers are trying to tell us, it shouldn't be something that's bring harm to us, because in my perspective, a teacher is always trying to help. A teacher will never try to downgrade you or like degrade you. So definitely what a teacher says should be taken into account by a student. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Look at Lawrence, everyone. Is he smiling like a proud father right now? He's like, my student, my student. So now we know, all right? So don't cry, hold your tears, Lawrence. And you definitely know your age when sudden students nowadays talk about repeat, right? For our time, it's like, you fail, you repeat again, you fail, you repeat again. It's an evidence of generation gap, all right? Next, we have our fourth speaker for tonight, Christopher.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
All right. I hope you're ready for these questions. This is something that I'm always very interested in as well. It's a perspective, it's an opinion. So, Christopher, certificate of participation has weakened the competitiveness and determination of our youth. Certificate of participation has weakened the competitiveness and determination of our youth. What do you think?
Good evening. My name is Christopher Lopez. I believe that each student or each youth has their dream to accomplish in their lives. These days, kids are not really into participating, let's say, for example, doing an activity online, for example, having courses like that makes them interested. Sometimes they are really into gadgets, something that is easy for them to be involved in. In that case, kids are very, kids are having a hard time to make their choices be part of their decision. For me, I believe that kids have different perspective in life, different interests. I guess this is what they have to think of to be a part of their group of friends, teachers, within their families. They have to think about what they have to do in the future. I believe that there are so many things that kids need to focus on. In that case, they can be a part of a certain activity that could be helpful for them to improve, to have things that they have to accomplish in the future. And in that case, it is very important that they have their own way to deliver their way of understanding in such topic, for example. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christopher. Jazz hand, everyone. Since the inception of Toastmasters, and that is also the inceptions of table topics together with the inceptions of Toastmasters Club. The intention behind having a table topic is not to make life difficult or to challenge certain perspective, but the essence or the real intention behind a table topic is to allow us to think differently, because the questions that has been asked here might be some questions that will be asked to you when you are in your office or whether you're at schools. And it's always important to have your own opinions and able to articulate whatever is on your mind. And I think tonight, all 4 of our speakers have done exceptionally well. We first have Amar, who first talk about
Ellen, you're dropping the network. Come back. Ellen, come back. Come back.
Just screenshot this and send it to him so he knows what he looks.
Hello. Apologies, my call dropped as well. Something issue with the Wi-Fi. Not surprising, but anyway, that was a really good table topic session. I've been deep in thought since the inception of that session. I'll definitely be going through the questions myself and forming my own opinion on things. Moving on, we have our prepared speeches for tonight. So first, our first speaker, her speech is about getting to know Natural History Museum and how she's going to let us know more about how museums collection give insights onto the wonders and beauties of the natural world. But before we invite her onto the stage, I would like to invite her evaluator, Ms. Tarwana Haroon. Can you all give a show of jazz hands?
Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the evening. Hello, everybody. I am back. You will get to see my face just for a couple more seconds before we proceed to Aqilah. But without further ado, Aqilah will be attempting her L1 P2A evaluation and feedback project. The purpose of this project is for Aqilah to present a 5 to 7 minute speech on any topic, then receive feedback and apply the feedback to a second speech. As her evaluator, I will specifically focus on Aqilah's speaking style, especially her grasp of the topic and keeping the audience engaged. From there, I will recommend improvements that she can apply to the next speech. Aqilah's speech is titled Natural History Museum. Here she wishes the audience to get to know more about the Natural History Museum and how museum collections give insight on the wonders and beauties of the natural world, just like her. So all the best, Aqilah. I am sure you will do great. So back to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you, Sarwana. And at the moment, I think Aqilah's not in the room because I think what we experienced just now was a nationwide Wi-Fi problem because more than half of our participants are gone. So let me just check with Aqilah for a moment to see if she can get on. Give me a couple of minutes, please. Okay, maybe we should give about 4 to 5 minutes for everyone to come back to the room because we are missing a few important role players. And thank you for your patience, everyone. We didn't expect this to happen. It's a surprise.
This is us expanding our comfort zone.
Yeah, you're right.
Elevator music. Let me just get a hold of the speakers. Yeah.
No worries, Chris. Everyone experienced the same connection problem.
Yeah, welcome to Brunei.
I think we can go on with another session of table topic, right? The TTE is here.
Okay, so I have a proposition. So if we can't get a hold of Aqilah in, let's say, 4 minutes time, would it be okay for Edric to go on first? Edric, would you be okay? All right, so
don't mind.
if by, let's say, 8:17, I could get a hold of your evaluator, you may go on first.
Right.
Has this ever happened before at any of the other virtual meetings? Like everybody was just out.
Not for Otis. I think this is the first time that we've experienced this.
Yeah.
I think this is the first time for any virtual meeting that I've been to. You're so lucky, Ying.
I'm not sure if this is lucky.
You have a
Hey,
superpower.
improvisation.
You have a superpower. All parents need you right now.
Yes.
Our parents need you to stay at our home so that when you look at our child, you go like, no more internet access,
Yeah.
and the kids can't get onto their gadgets.
Inception of a new superpower. Is Ling Ling
Yeah.
here? Does that work?
No, not counted. That one not counted. Ling Ling don't
Alamak.
All right,
have to wait for
so
Ling
we
Ling to come
have
back and you repeat the sentence.
Ted.
Okay.
All right, hi Ted. So I think more than half of our participants dropped off due to connectivity issue, but we have the second speaker ready. So if you're ready too, we would like Edric to go on first and you can evaluate him. Are you okay with that? Ted, would you be okay? All right.
You can hear me?
Yep. All right.
I'm
Okay,
scrambling
so-
to regroup my thoughts. Okay. All right. If
That's all right.
everyone's okay, I'll just proceed to evaluate Edric or give my introduction.
All right. So hello again, ladies and gentlemen. So a change of plans, our first speaker would be giving his speech about how to deal with conflict and the steps that we need to take in order to resolve these conflict. But before we introduce him, please give a show of hands for his evaluator, Ted G, who is Presentation Mastery Level 4. Ted G, you may take the stage.
Thank you, Ying. Edric today is going to be presenting a speech on understanding conflict resolution. In the movie Inception, is Ling Ling here? Not here. In the movie Inception, how people resolve business conflicts or perform corporate espionage is they plug into your head to plant seeds that lead to conflict resolution. Unfortunately, we do not have that liberty or the means to do so, so we have to resort to a more antiquated approach by talking and action and speaking to each other. And this is where Edric is going to show us today how he did so. Today, Edric's speech is going to be talking about his or her understanding on the steps and strategies to address conflict management and to share some aspects of his experience in learning how to resolve the conflicts. Edric would be presenting an experience, a time where conflict happens. He'll be presenting us the speech that leads to this resolve of it. Now, what I'll be looking for is two things, Edric. First is I'll be looking at how well you've applied what you've learned in conflict, in resolution of conflicts into your experience. And second thing is how well you've structured your speech that led us to understand that you understood how to resolve conflicts. I'm excited to listen to your speech. I'll be back later in the third part of the meeting to share my evaluation. With that, good luck, all the best. And back to you, Ying Ying.
Thank you, Ted. Now, I would like to introduce Persuasive Influence Level 2, Edric Kinata, with his title, Deal With It. Deal With It. Edric Kinata, you may take the stage.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the evening. Let me share my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes, it is visible.
All right, cool. Let me start. So Benjamin Franklin, one of the founding fathers of the United States, once said, in this world, nothing is certain but death and taxes. Now, I kind of agree with him, but I think that he missed one important point. There is this one point that also is very certain, and it recurs, and we need to deal with it every day. And you might have guessed it right now. It's conflict, right? Conflict exists in all facets of life, in all levels of life. So it starts from the most macro stakeholders, such as governments, down to us, the most micro stakeholders, such as individuals. And conflicts is like McDonald's, right? It opens 24 hours. It's there 24 hours. It's ready to hit you 24/7, right? So it goes without saying that conflict resolution skill is very, very important. And it's so important that if we do this wrongly, we might need to pay a price. So for example, the last time government did a very bad conflict resolution, 80 million people were killed. That was when during World War II. Now, on individual levels, it's also needless to say, I can guarantee that we had at least 1 or 2 arguments or conflicts in the past week, right? So it's very, very important for us to be cognizant, to be aware on how we deal with conflicts. And in today's opportunity, I would like to share my takeaways, my personal takeaways based on my experience on dealing with conflicts. And I want to simplify it into these 3 statements. So I call it the 3 F's of conflict resolution. Let's start with the first one. The first one is face it. So let me ask you a question. What's worse than having a conflict? The answer is having a conflict and pretend that we don't have a conflict. So you might have heard this quote before. Ignorance is bliss. Yes, it might be true on certain cases. Ignorance might be bliss, but in the context of conflict resolution, ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is far from bliss, because if we ignore our conflicts, it might snowball into something large enough that we cannot ignore, but by then it might already be too late. Now, the thing to approach this is to divide, is to make sure that we know the difference between ignoring conflict and delaying conflict. So delaying conflict might mean that we are gathering resources before we actually deal with the conflict. But ignoring conflict is to pretend that it doesn't exist. And it's a completely different thing. So we need to make sure that we are not ignoring conflict. Delaying conflict is okay, but the point is we need to face it. We need to deal with the conflict. Now, the second F is facts, facts, and facts. Now, oftentimes we argue with people. We have a conflict with people because we feel that we are right and the other parties or the other person is wrong. Now, the key word here is feel. And you need to remember, the only thing that you need to remember is feelings aren't facts. So we need to separate our feelings and the facts. We need to separate our opinions and facts. So this actually happened to me personally 2 weeks ago. So I actually booked an apartment via Airbnb for weekend vacation, right? So for context, in Indonesia, my country, so the check-in time was usually 2 p.m. So I assumed that this apartment also has a check-in time of 2 p.m. So I arrived at the apartment at 2 p.m., but I was so pissed because the owner told me that I could only check in at 3 p.m. So I was about to burst out. I was about to yell at this person, complaining of his services, but and also ruining everyone's mood because I yell and complain, right? But before doing that, I do my fact check. I check my facts. I check my itinerary. I check my reservation ticket. And apparently, it stated 3 p.m. So I wasn't reading it correctly. I wasn't reading it carefully. So I was the wrong party here. So eventually, I didn't argue because I was the wrong person. I was the wrong party. So by checking my facts, I was able to avoid unnecessary conflict. I was able to avoid unnecessary argument. So always, always check your facts. Now, last but not least, focus on the main goal. What I mean by this, just focus on these two things. Always remember the why and step away from irrelevant argument topics. Now, what I mean by this, let's take an example, right? So when we argue, let's say with our spouse or our girlfriend on who's gonna clean the house today, right? So we argue for a couple of minutes and then suddenly someone says something bad about his father, something bad about her father, or how bad her grade is during high school, how smelly his breath is. It's outside the topic, right? It's not on the argument topic anymore because we are too focused on the details. We kind of sway away from the main goal. So when things get too crowded, always remember to step back and readjust your focus. Make sure you are dealing with the main goal and step away from irrelevant topics. So those are the 3 Fs. But the key takeaway here is conflicts are meant to make us grow. And we certainly couldn't avoid conflicts. And it's also unwise to ignore conflicts. So the best thing to do is to be more aware on our conflict resolution technique. And I believe by being bolder in dealing with our conflicts, by facing it instead of ignoring it, by being more objective, by gathering more facts, and by being more goal-oriented and avoiding irrelevant topics, by focusing on the main goal, I believe we could have a better career, we could have a better relationship, and ultimately a better life. Now, before I end my speech, I would like to share a very relevant quote related to conflict resolution. So peace is not an absence of conflict. It is the ability to handle conflict by peaceful means. Back to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
All right. Thank you, Edric. That was very interesting how to staying calm during conflicts. I'll definitely be remembering the 3 Fs the next time I feel emotionally charged during a situation. Up next, we have a speaker who would be giving a speech about Natural History Museum. So she'll give us an insight on how museum's collection gives insights to the wonders of the wonders and beauties of the natural world. And I believe we have introduced her evaluator earlier on, Tharwana Harun. So Tharwana, if you would like to go on and then introduce yourself again for a short while.
Sure, not a problem. Thank you very much, Ying Ying, Toastmaster of the evening. Hi guys, welcome back. Apologies for the connectivity issue. I am apologizing on behalf of UNN. I'm kidding. Anyway, let's go back to our main topic. This evening, we have Aqilah, who will be attempting her L1 P2A evaluation and feedback project. So the purpose of this project is for Aqilah to present a 5 to 7 minute speech on any topic, receive feedback, and apply the feedback to a second speech. As her evaluator, I will specifically focus on Aqilah's speaking style, especially her grasp of the topic and keeping the audience engaged. From there, I will recommend certain improvements that she can apply to the next speech. So as her speech is with regards to the Natural History Museum and how to give insight on the wonders and beauties of the natural world, I am sure as one of them, she will do a great job this evening. So all the best, Aqilah, and back to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you, Tarwana. So now, ladies and gentlemen, finally give a round of jazz hands for Aqilah Shyaqifah, who would be giving her talk titled National History Museum. National History Museum, Aqilah Shyaqifah, the stage is yours.
Can I have another spotlight for my other account before I start to share the screen by my side? It's on Aqilah's screen.
You need to open the video first. Then I can spotlight.
Oh, okay, hold on. Okay. So, what's that? Sorry. Let me just share my screen on that. Okay. Okay. Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Have you ever watched the movie Night at the Museum? Or have you been to a museum yourself? Do you remember what it was like when Ben Stiller, the night guard, make his night rounds from painting art to cultural heritage, where Sacagawea was there, to the Egyptian tunnels with the horrifying Egyptian gods, to the Roman architecture of two mammal exhibitions, where Dexter, the mischievous ape, resides. Going into a museum is like wormholes to many different worlds, where you were presented with exquisite exhibitions from human heritage, culture, arts, history, plants, animals, and everything around it. Museum is, by definition, an institution which acquires, conserves, researches, communicates, and exhibits for the purpose of education, study, and enjoyment. The term natural history museum indicate the institution specifically collect, display, and research materials from the natural world. Historically, in its inception, Natural History Museum has very limited accessibility as they hold very precious scientific research materials. Fortunately now, more of these materials are shared and showcased in public exhibitions. These materials include those preserved in liquids and as dry collections, which consist of skin, fossils, mineral rocks, and pin insects. Back to the movie earlier, I would think that these collections are solely for enjoyment of the soul, to appreciate what was and were there. Simply having a moment to enjoy this natural art in the comfort of an air-conditioned room. It is like going into a Saharan adventure without the scorching hot sun burning your skin, or a refreshing visit into the rainforest without the fire ants and leeches clinging onto you. However, museum is so much more than that. In social context, these collections are used to educate the public on natural and national treasures. A natural history museum in Asia would completely showcase different collections from those in the United States. This information could further be used to raise awareness on public health, on agricultural impacts by providing comparative, historical, and present past in human lives. For example, do we have this insect pest in our rice field 50 years ago? Are current diseases present 100 years ago? Presence of toxins and microplastics, for example, in marine life were investigated from recent and historical collections, all of which are important and impacting human life and well-being. Behind the exhibition doors, museum collections are actively used in researches. Impacts of human settlements to pristine natural environment and resident were investigated. Research and design of modern technologies are used using natural collection to compare for cost and energy efficient structures. For example, take Velcros. We used to have this in our primary school shoes, for example. These Velcros are inspired from tiny hooks on fruits. Transport system structures, for example, uses bats and bird beaks as improvement for aerodynamics. More often than not, we take these structures for granted, especially when we were out in the wild, fearing for our lives and safety. But with museum collections, we can observe the stunning structures of butterfly wings, for example, and raises question why these structures varies in shapes and colors. Why are these beetles different from the others? These are comparative representation that we can observe directly simply from museum collections. Now, the next time you have the opportunity to visit a museum, enjoy the natural art, but also remember to consider what treasures and wonders the museums hold. With the concerning rise in extinction rates on Earth, museums provide valuable and irreplaceable information, especially for collections that are no longer exist in nature. Each individual collection has their story and wonder, and museums are library for all these untold secrets. That is all from me. Back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Aqilah. There was a really wonderful speech, and it made me miss my childhood when we were brought to museums by schools. For some reason, that stopped when we started to enter high school. It used to be fun, but anyway, moving on. It seems like we are stretched for time at the moment because of the little hiccup. So may I ask if the president is okay if we have a 5 minutes break?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So timer, can you take note that we're having a 5-minute break and we will commence? We'll come back to the meeting around 8:41. All right. So as I mentioned just now, all right. All right. Hello, everyone. We're back with the meeting. So for the third section of our meeting, we have the evaluations. Now, feedback acts as a guide for all of us to improve on. So without feedback, you don't know what you need to work on next. So feedback is a very important aspect here in Toastmaster. In Toastmasters, these feedbacks come in the form of evaluations. But in our case, these evaluations don't just help the speakers or the person being evaluated, it also helps the evaluators themselves. So they can learn on how to further improve their evaluation skill. So for this section of the meeting, I would like to invite the general evaluator for tonight, Effective Coaching Level 3, Megat Arif.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the evening, Madam Ying Ying. I wanted to deliver my introduction for the evaluation session part, but thank you, Ying, for doing the introduction. It was really good, very concise. Now, without further ado, we will go straight to our first evaluator, the table topics evaluator, distinguished Toastmaster, Rano Iskandar. Rano, the floor is yours.
All right, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, so the spotlight is on me now. So let me go to each of the speaker. I kind of did something with the tech stuff. So let's see if I'm able to present it right now. Okay, first up, let me go with, who's the first person here? Okay, Amar. So Amar, I would say you had, I want to talk about the flow first. Your flow is quite easy to follow. And I would say that now, if I was to be a listener of your 2-minute speech, I would say that it's very, very motivational. You have so many quotes of the quotes, a lot of things that, you will inspire me. And I like the fact that you started off with a quote talking about diamonds are not created without pressure. Now, that's a great, that was a great stuff. But this is something that maybe I want to look at. I want to show you this one. I think it's more about you needed this one. You needed I would say, a story to back up on what you say. And when you have a story, then it's easier for your quotes to have substance. You have substance, people will be more credible. And perhaps I think it's more about wrapping up to have it with your earlier quotes. And I think that there'll be a dream start for you for having the 2-minute, I would say the 2-minute conversation that you had with the audience just now. So congratulations on that one. So the next up we have is Flora. So Flora, sorry, not Flora, was, let me see here. It was Tawarna. So Tawarna, I would say yours, yes, it was easy to follow. Definitely easy to follow. And I like the thing is you're building it up. You're building your stance, I can see where you're going, because I think the question was to see whether people have to be listening more than speaking. And I like the fact that you're trying to lead, you're putting the audience at the edge of the seat. But I would feel that maybe if you had an earlier stance, it would make it easier. It will make it very easy for you to follow if you have an earlier stance. So people will be able to know that, okay, in the beginning, you can say that, yes, active listening is very, very important. And if you can take earlier stance, it's better. So you said that you talk about it's relatable to you, how you can adapt it to real life. And perhaps similar to Amar, maybe you can have also a story, and it will probably help to make people to actually believe, because I know this is a point that you're trying to say, but I guess if you have a story and an example per se, then I think you'll nail the coffin on what you're trying to explain. So apart from that, both of you have actually a very sound presentation for the past 2 minutes. But the next person I want to bring up is Flora. Now, Flora, I think it's the first time you are being put on the spotlight. And I would say that, sorry, my video's off. Okay, I would say that you're very, very expressive. You have, because I know you as a singer, you're a singer on stage, maybe that really helps, but you're very, very expressive. You're very heavy in content, I would say. You have so many things that it also gives. I think you're one of the person that gives so many examples, like working hard, and it's a win-win situation with the teachers. But there's one thing perhaps that I felt, maybe this is just my opinion. Maybe having the presence of your teacher might make maybe a difference. And I feel some of the answers, are you trying to be diplomatic in your answers? I don't know. But because he's there and he's happy and all that, perhaps what if your teacher Lawrence wasn't there, maybe you become more expressive. But apart from that, I think you did a very great job in actually giving your feedback and giving your stance when it comes to that we should be able to repeat our grade if our grades are not ideal. Okay, well done on that. And the last person is Christopher. Okay, Christopher, Also first timer, I think, in table topics. I know I'm going over time. I can see the red light. I would say that your opening maybe is a bit different because I think, I'm not sure. Yeah, it was a bit different, but I think it flowed very well. You're talking about youth because you're dealing with students. So I think you have a grasp on in terms of achieving their dreams. And then you talk about also about technology, how they play a part of this, and you're quite articulated. The only thing that I felt I was just mentioning before, I'm not sure because maybe it wasn't, maybe you had a different answer. And I think that was the one that might affect, if this was actually a contest, you had actually a different answer to the actual topic. I think the topic is more about taking a stance whether students or the youth will be affected if they just get a reading certificate and not being motivated to do anything else. But I think you handled it quite well for a first timer. I think it's really great that you achieved this in 2 minutes. All right, that's it from me. And thank you for joining this table topic session. And now back to you, to General Evaluator Megat Arif.
Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Rano Iskandar, for your evaluation. Next, we will find out who will win. Who is the best table topics speaker? And with that, let me invite the table topics master, distinguished Toastmaster Ellen Ang. Ellen, floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Megat. Good evening again, everyone. Despite of the sudden disconnections from the internet, I think all of us enjoyed the table topic sessions. So if you have enjoyed the table topic sessions, let's give a big jazz hand to all our speakers before I announce who has the best table topic. So for tonight, we have 4 participants, and 3 of them walk away with a certificate of participation, while 1 of them walk away with the best table topics ribbon. Who would that be? So drum roll, please. Ta-da! Tawana! Tawana, unmute yourself and share with us your 20 seconds acceptance speech.
Well, thank you very much. That is very nice of everybody. Thank you. I haven't done table topics since our table topics contest, so it was quite a daunting experience. But I think it'd be more daunting for Flora having to speak in front of Mr. Lawrence and all his Toastmaster friends. But anyway, good job everybody else, and good job for participating. It's the first step, right, Ying? Thank you.
Thank you, Tarana. And ladies and gentlemen, that is our best table topic speaker for tonight. And for all our other speakers, thank you so much for participating. You are so brave in volunteering yourself. And I could not say more about other than appreciating you. So with that, thank you very much. And I would like to hand it back to Megat.
Thank you, Ellen. Now, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to Tarwana. And for the rest of the speakers, you will collect your appreciation certificate from Mr. Ellen later on. No, I'm just joking. So that's all for our table topics session. Now let's move on to our prepared speech evaluator. Initially, we had our first speaker, which was Aqilah, but because of the hiccup, and today, because of that itself, I would love to invite the prepared speech evaluator for the second speech, which was for the evaluator for Edric, G, to present your evaluation for the prepared speaker, Edric Kinata. G, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Megat. Edric, when I started off, I said I would be evaluating based on whether you understood clearly on how to resolve conflict. There are 3 things which I felt that you did really well. So let me share that with you. First is your structure. Second is your attention. Third is your ending on high note. First, your structure. You have a very clear and simple to follow along steps. Your structure was very clear. You know how to structure your speech properly. First, you jar us awake with stunning facts. Then you went through your 3 Fs, your face it, facts, and focus. And then you close out with a bang. Very clear, very simple to follow speech that we can just clearly understood what you were trying to share with us. Second thing that you did really well, your enviable knack of getting our attention. At the inception of your speech, You share with us a great quote from a great man, Benjamin Franklin himself. And then you did a subtle change and conflict. That caught us a bit, wow, that's something new. And then you link the conflicts to McDonald's as a 24/7 thing, something that is so familiar to us, McDonald's, but you link that back to conflict being around everywhere 24/7. And then you share with us stunning data in mismanagement of conflicts, which is the World War II. However, 18 million people died because of a mismanagement conflict. So you have a very, very good knack of catching our attention. Well done on that. And lastly, what I think you did really, really well was you end the speech on a high note. What do I mean by that? You end with a quote from that guy, I forgot his name, but basically it's something about handling conflict peacefully. I just remember the last part, handling conflict peacefully. And that's a great roundup summation of what this whole speech was to you, which is to manage conflict and end it peacefully. You end up with a bang. You end on a high note. These are the three things which I felt you did really, really well. Now, I feel that there are two things which you could have done to elevate your speech to the next level. The first thing is when you address conflict resolution, you were only talking about internal conflicts. What do I mean by that? Face it, gathering facts and focus on the end goal. These are all internal things on a personal level. So you understood them well internally. That's mental. But what about the external? How did you go and talk to the other party? How did you present your facts to the other party? How did you get buy-in from the other party to resolve that conflict? That was not covered, unfortunately. So you did part one, but it was missing part two. So if you had covered part two, I felt that it would be a full round conflict resolution. The second thing is a lack of personal application. Let's go back to your 3 Fs, face it, facts, and focus. You did share briefly about your Airbnb experience under facts, but beyond that, there were no personal application. I felt that if you have shared with us a more personal application that uses these 3 things, perhaps a big argument that you have. Okay, step 1, I faced it. Step 2, I gathered facts. Step 3, I focused on angle and not let my feelings get the better of me. And you shared that, I felt that it would be a very perfect roundup to letting us know that you've applied it beautifully. Application would equate to credibility, which I felt is lacking in this case. So let's sum up. 3 things that I felt you did well. You have very clear, simple to follow structure. You have a knack of getting attention. You end your speech on a high note. 2 things that could have done to improve. Show us the externality of your conflict resolution and more personal application. I'll chat more with you later. Back to you, GE. My God, you're on mute.
Okay, connection, not mute. Thank you so much, Presentation Mastery Level 4, Tech G, for your evaluation. Now next, yes, Adina, yes. We shall invite the next prepared speech evaluator, Tarwana Harun, Persuasive Influencer Level 2, Tarwana Harun, to deliver your evaluation. Tarwana, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, GE. Wow, you get to see a lot of my face today, everyone. Okay, but it is not about me. It is about our beautiful speaker, Aqilah. And if I'm not mistaken, this is her 2nd time doing a prepared speech at BSC. So can we please give a round of jazz hands for that effort? Woohoo! Good job, Aqilah. As shared at the beginning, I said I would look at 2 things, specifically how Aqilah has shown the grasp of her topic and how she's been able to keep the audience engaged. So we can definitely see her enthusiasm, especially with her impact and sharing of facts throughout her speech. And she was very detailed. And the fact that she was so vivid in her descriptions of going through the feeling of going through a museum. So that definitely kept people engaged and reeled people in. And I definitely think that's one of your greatest strengths. But I guess I'll go into the rooms for improvement immediately here. At the inception of your speech, I think that might have dawned on you a bit because of the technical difficulty, but you had visuals, which I think did not necessarily supplement what you were about to say. with all the facts that you gave us, even that inclusion of comparison to a movie, right, at the museum, I think that could have been, I believe that could have been omitted and you could have still made your point, especially with sharing the facts and being more informative in your speech. One point that I definitely believe could elevate your speech is putting a message. Yes, your speech is meant to be informative and to share all this information and the availability of these resources within national museums and how we are missing out. But if you then narrowed it down to having a message, here, this is the value of life. History is the value of life. That would have then brought your speech to another level. So a change that also for you to consider or to challenge you in this sense is that we have a tendency, especially with me right now, I should probably take my own advice, is to read off of a screen or read off of our notes and etc. And again, I guess to expand our comfort zone, maybe attempt the next speech without any cue cards or reading off of anything. And also, you only took 5 minutes and 24 seconds for your speech. So you have 7 minutes, and maybe best to maximize the amount of time to fully engage and put your message across in your next one. So a few things. Keep up the enthusiasm and the topic. I think it's a great topic. Yes, you can definitely keep to this topic or to another topic for your next speech, but let's work on putting that message in. And again, utilize the time that you've been given. And back to you, General Evaluator. Thank you.
Thank you, Taruwana, for your evaluation. Now, next is my first part of the evaluation. Timer, can you time me? Sorry, Zoom Master, can you put on the slides, please? All right, thank you. So I have 4 minutes. Then up and now. So ladies and gentlemen, so that was our table topics evaluator and both of the prepared speeches evaluation. Okay. First, I would like to touch on the table topics evaluator, distinguished Toastmaster Rano Iskandar. I really loved how you use those technology of using a camera. That's something that I've never seen anyone doing it before. You had your points, each and every speaker, you had the 2 good points, and then there's something that they need to improve on. So that was really good, and all of your evaluation was really good, spot on. I liked it. But one thing that I wanted to say, something that you can improve on. You have your points for each and every one of the speaker. Yes, good. But I found out that you exaggerated more on the points rather than sticking to that points that you showed to the audience. Maybe you can stick, okay, this is what they're good at, this is what they're good at, this is something that you can improve on. You can stick to that without more further exaggeration about the points, the good, the bad things that they did, some improvement that they did. This is because I found out that you went a bit off over time. You had 4 speakers that you wanted to evaluate. I think with the usage of their presentation, that was good. Maybe you can be more on point. Be not to talk more on, like I said, not to be more exaggerating on that point, but stick to that point, stick to what you were going to say, and then move on to the next speaker. All right. Now, thank you, Rano. There was a lovely table topics evaluation for all of the speakers as well. Next, we have Ted G giving the evaluation for our guest speaker, Edric Kinata. All right, I would like to categorize both evaluator for the prepared speaker, Taruwana and Ted. Both had a similar structure. They pointed on the strength of the speaker, something that they can improve on. And then what I like the most is both of the evaluator gave a summary at the end. Most of us, sometimes when we do evaluation, we just say, okay, this is something strikes, this is something you can improve on, and then that's it. But now today, what I can observe is both of you have a summary. This is really good, something that most of us can practice, most of the evaluator can practice later on. this can only be done if you have your points in front of you, you know what to talk about, you know what's the strength of the speaker, you know what is the weaknesses of that speaker, you know what you want to suggest for room of improvement for that speaker. When you have that time set, you will have that time to summarize. I see Tarwana as well for practicing that, having that summary for all of the for the speaker, for Aqilah as well. Now, a room of recommendation for Tarwana. Okay. Yes, I agree on you where you say that Aqilah had that poster of Nightmare Museum, and then maybe she can utilize it more. But something that I found out that you haven't touched upon tonight was you in your introduction you mentioned two things, which is grasp of topic, which is you elaborated on that, but you haven't touched a bit on keeping the audience engaged. How can Aqilah, using her presentation, using her speech today, how can she be more engaged for the audience through Zoom? So maybe after this you can talk to her, and then you can touch on this point that you wanted to elaborate earlier during your introduction. For Ted, Ted, I have not much of things that I want to give room of improvement for you, as you are the champion for evaluation. But something that I want to highlight here is I like the way that you give your own perspective of conflict here. When I listened to Edric's speech, I didn't really realize the other perspective, which is, perspective is something from the inside, and maybe it's conflict, something from the outside. So that is good for you to point that out. For me as well, I learned something from Edric's speech, and I learned a lot from your evaluation session as well. So thank you for both evaluator. That was a lovely evaluation. Thank you, Zainab, for that timing. Now, Zomaster, all right, thank you, Zomaster, for bringing up the slides back. So the next session for our evaluation, which is the grammarian. Ladies and gentlemen, please invite presentation mastery proficient team collaborator level 2 to give her grammarian report, Lai Ling Ling. Lai Ling Ling, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you very much, Magat. Tonight I chose the word inception for the word of the day. A bit difficult to use, but I'm pleased to see that some people managed to incorporate it into their sentences. I'd like to give my thanks to Zainab, Ying Ying, and Alan for trying their best to use it in their speeches. Ying Ying said, shortly after the inception of the break, which is correct. Alan used it 3 times since the inception of Toastmaster, which is the inception of Table Topics, which was the inception of Toastmasters International. I don't agree with it, but it is correct as well. So congrats, Alan. Lastly, Zainab used it very interestingly. She said, before you incept your speech. And I really like this because we wouldn't think of using inception as a verb as opposed to a noun. However, I do have to take note that incept as a verb actually means something different to inception. Now, inception means to start something, yeah? But to incept means to graduate with an academic degree. So that's something a bit different, but thank you for teaching me a new word today, Zainab. I think I'll be using incept the next time I finish my degree. So there's that. Let's move on to a couple of usages of the English language that I felt could be improved somewhat. Someone said students repeat their grade. I think the correct usages would be students repeat their grades, otherwise the students would collectively have a singular grade. Next would be place an importance to public speaking. I think that should be place an importance on public speaking, because when you place something, it should be on something as opposed to at, which is next to it. So not technically correct. I also noticed that a lot of us today tend to use the word so as an adjoiner to their sentences. I would recommend that perhaps we could choose to use other rejoiners like therefore, thus, hence. The word so is used as a result of something. So if you want to not use that, you could also choose not to use it at all, because as a full stop, we would naturally assume that whatever comes next would be as a result of the previous sentence. Now let's move on to notable uses of the English language that I really want to commend. Lawrence said, thank you, Christopher, for gracing us with your presence. This is an idiom of saying that comes from the word your grace, your grace, like a duke or a lord or something like that. So when someone is gracing us with their presence, it means that they have taken time to make an appearance at your event. Aqilah, a special mention. I love her speech. It was full of very interesting uses of the English language. But my favorite was when she said, going to a museum is like a wormhole to many different worlds. Now, wormhole in this sense, it means a connection between different spaces and different times. When you look at a museum, it's very much that, isn't it? Edric says, if we ignore our conflicts, it might snowball into something else. Snowball in this case means to increase in intensity. Ooh, very intense. Amar said, and you try to go with the flow. Going with the flow means to relax and accept the situation as opposed to trying to control it. Mariam said, I want to improve my public speaking. I want to be more articulate. This is very cool because it's articulate means having the ability to speak fluently and coherently, but the way she used I want to, it's a repetition and it serves to enforce her want, her need to improve herself. And I really like that. Some people who also use repetitions in their speeches are Sarwana, the ability to grasp, absorb, apply these skills. Christopher, again, when he said, when they're with their friends, their teachers, their family. And of course, Edric, he had so many. I think he had like 6 different, but I'll give you an example. I'll just repeat some. Better career, better relationship, better life. By being more focused, by being more determined, by being more goal-oriented, how bad their grades are, how bad their mother is, how smelly their breath is. Love, 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 all of those. But the person I was most in awe was actually Alan. Alan said, let's get the ball rolling. Let me put you in a hot seat. Let's have our first sacrifice. So let us dissect what he said. Let's get the ball rolling. It means to set something in motion or to make a start on something. Let me put you in a hot seat. It means to put someone in trouble or to ask someone a difficult or embarrassing question. And let's have our first sacrifice. He doesn't mean that literally, but when he means sacrifice, it means to surrender someone as an offering, sometimes for the sake of something. In this case, a table topic. Finally, I want to bring attention to Rano. Rano said that was a nail in the coffin to what you want to explain. So a nail in the coffin means something that makes something more likely to fail. In this case, I don't think he meant that because I think he was referring to the person doing a particularly good job, in which case, I think the correct phrase would be that person hit the nail on the head, which means they were exactly right about it. In any case, I thought that it was very interesting the way he used it. And, you know, public speaking can be a very nail-biting experience. Sometimes it can feel as if you're being nailed to a wall. But, you know, everyone here was as tough as nails today. And we all persevered and we fought tooth and nail to nail down every one of our speeches. So in the end, thanks, everyone. You all nailed it tonight. Back to you, Magat.
Mr. Magat?
Are you? I think you're still muted.
I think we lost Magat.
Oh, okay. So without further ado, can we have Adina
I'm
Bidin
here.
to report on her accounting and for her Who Said What section? Adina, you may take the stage.
Thank you, Ying. There you go. I will now start providing my report for our counter tonight. And in addition to what Ling Ling shared earlier on, so was indeed a word that was used to connect sentences. And tonight, I noticed as well, in general, so is being used a couple of times by a few people at the inception of a sentence. So Ying, you actually used 5 times at the beginning of your sentence, and Parwana used once. Another word that I found a few others use at the beginning of a sentence is all right. And Amar, Ellen, and Magat actually used that tonight. So what I would like to suggest is either omit it altogether and just start off with I or whatever word that you can start with instead of using all these filler words. Okay. And just moving on to the rest of the ahs and the ums. Sarwana, you have 3 ums and 2 ahs. You were actually pretty smooth, except at the beginning when you were stumbling a little bit, trying to figure out the words to say, as well as Christopher. You were actually really smooth at the beginning until you reached the 1 minute mark, and I think that's when you started off trying to think of what's the next thing that you would like to say. And I think in the first minute, you were very sure on what you were going to say. You had 8 ums, 1 ahs for Christopher. For Amar, there are 2. Yeah, there were 2 that I heard from you. That was when you were trying to think of the right word to use. And I think it's also another word that were used a lot, especially by Rano. So I would like to challenge Rano next time to stop using I think and just go ahead and just straight on, either use in my opinion or in my view, or just straight on with whatever you would like to share without using the disclaimer, I think. Last off, Flora, I think that was a very good first time effort to attempt table topics. If you would like to think about what you like to work on the next time you attempt table topics, I would suggest try and be a little bit wary of your ahs and ums. And I think it's natural for a first time attempt to have a lot of ahs and ums, especially when you're thinking. Another thing that I realized that you use, how do I say, 3 times when you're trying to think of the words. So my only recommendation would be to keep practicing. And like myself, I'm still using ahs and ums a lot, but it helps to be a little bit aware of that. Next would be, where's my timer? No, okay, I will have 5 questions. 5 questions tonight, and I'll do it very quickly. Who is, can you please unmute yourself? How old is Ellen?
36.
36.
16 times 2 plus 4.
Plus 4, 36.
Correct. 16 times 2 plus 4.
18 years old.
According to Edric, what is certain in the world?
Taxes, something, and conflict. What's the first one?
McDonald's.
Death, taxes, and conflict.
Death and conflict.
Oh, morbid.
What are the 2 examples that Aqilah used that represent that comparatively represents species?
Velcro and bird beak.
Correct.
Museum.
Personal application equals to? No, I was listening to Chad. Chad actually provided this feedback to Edric. Personal application equals to credibility.
Oh, yes.
I knew it. You were only listening to speeches. Okay, 3 F's that represent conflict resolution technique.
Face it.
Facts. That's 3.
Focus.
Focus.
Listening. Anyways, thank you for joining me tonight. Back to you, man. Ying.
Yeah. Thank you, Adina, for that lovely section. I always look forward to the quizzes because they're always very fun and engaging. Now up next, can we have the Toastmaster Zainab to present her report for the time for tonight's meeting.
All right, thank you, Ying. I'll start my timing, and we started the meeting 3 minutes a bit late. The SAA and the host took 20 minutes. The thought of the day took 1 minute and 43 seconds. And now let's move on to the table topics. Let's congratulate Amar, Tharwana, and Christopher. Jazzy hands for them. They have passed the timings with these timings, and for Flora, she did exceed the time 5 seconds only, more than the maximum. So my advice is maybe I noticed you didn't take your time before you started your speech. So I usually take the time, the first word that you would say. So maybe you should have took that time and organized your thoughts. And now with the prepared speeches, congratulations, Eric and Aqilah passed also the timing. Jazzy hands for them with 6 minutes and 5 minutes, 42 seconds. And now for the evaluators. Let's move on to the first evaluator, the table topic evaluator, Rano. Unfortunately, his timing was a bit more. The announcement took 1 minute and 20 seconds, so 20 seconds extra. Now the evaluator, Ted, he took very good job, Ted, and Tharwana as well, very good job. The general evaluator, Megat, you exceeded the time with 4 minutes and 40 seconds. With the grammarian, Lai Lingling, 5 minutes and 37 seconds. That's a record. But regardless, you had a perfect, detailed, amazing report. Adina, the accounter, you took 5 minutes and 8 seconds. So it was a bit exceeding. And with that, thank you very much. I took 1 minute and 42 seconds. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Zainab, for that very interesting report. So the reason why I wanted Zainab to be the timer again for this week is because I just love the way she presents her finding. Like, I've never seen it used in Brunei Speaker Club, and I really like it. So I commend you for that. Now I would like to invite our president, Shanor Nizam, to the stage. Shanor Nizam.
You might want to do your TME closing first before you pass back to me.
All right. Again, thank you everyone for today. Thank you role players for helping out with today's meeting. So sorry for the hiccup, and so sorry if we're running short on time right now, but thank you for your patience. Thank you for attending. Thank you for coming back after getting disconnected and thank you also for the prepared speakers that we have today. Thank you, Mr. Edric, for coming a long way from Toastmasters Indonesia. And now back to Shahrul Nizam.
All right, thank you very much, Ying, for facilitating the general evaluation. Yes, facilitating is also a skill. If there is a hiccup throughout the meeting, it is very important. And for the TME to learn how to get back up and continue on the meeting. Unfortunately, Megat is currently having an issue with his electricity. The whole street went dark, he says. So it's a shame that we are unable to listen to his closing remarks, his evaluation as general evaluator. For that, it's going to be passed to me as the president. Now, let me share the screen. So I will start with the guest comment. Can we have, let me read my script first. Nick, who volunteered to do guest comment. Nick, the stage is yours to share your thoughts.
Hello. So I've definitely learned some new things this evening, such as the way they present and the ability for them to present as well. Everyone is so friendly and lovely. My favorite part of this meeting is at the beginning of the meeting where everyone introduced themselves and we get to know each other. And this meeting has taught me to be more brave about myself and not be shy whenever we're having a public speaking. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. And I see Megat is back. So Megat, are you? Do you want to continue giving on your general evaluation?
Yes, sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I think it was my time to be cut off by the internet tonight. So I think there's something going on outside. All right. So, sorry. Can you update me?
Just give your evaluation on the evaluator that you managed to observe.
Okay, so I'll give my final evaluation for tonight, right? All right, thank you again so much, and sorry again, ladies and gentlemen, for the cut off. Like I said, it was my time. I was not one of the person who been cut off earlier. I was one of the 5 people in Zoom, but yeah, but I think it was my time. All right, so my general evaluation for tonight. Let me start off with the SAA. I love how Lawrence was a very warm welcome to everyone and invited all the guests to speak up to introduce themselves. That was really good. But my highlight for tonight is actually the Toastmaster of the evening, Ying Ying. This is her first time doing it, and this is such an unprecedented event tonight that because of internet, half of the audience were off the Zoom. But ladies and gentlemen, I was still there, and she handled it very professionally. What I liked the most was when everyone was back, she repeated what Tarwana had given her introduction evaluation earlier. And then what I like about Ying Ying tonight was, I think Shanur mentioned this last week, she had that podcast calm voice. If I were to be the Toastmaster of the evening tonight, you'll hear my high-pitched nervousness because of the incident hiccups tonight. But Ying Ying, kudos to you. You handled the hiccups tonight really, really good, really, really well. I hope this would encourage you to do more in the upcoming meetings as well. All in all, I can say tonight, because despite the hiccups, most of us, Toastmaster, what I like the most about Toastmaster is we adapt to situation. If anything happens in between, like what happened to me just now, we see the president coming in to fill in the spot. So there is something good, something that all of us, for the guests, for the many of the guests, this is something that you can, what we practice in Toastmaster as well. This has been shown to you tonight, what Toastmaster is. Any hiccups, there's always a callback. There's always how do you say this? Someone backing you up, right? So that is good. In general, I can say tonight, despite the hiccup, was very good. Very professional. Everyone handled it very professional. Well, that's all for my evaluation, what I can say. Sorry again from my side. Back to the highlight of tonight, Toastmaster of the evening, Ying Ying.
Thank you, my God. Those are very lovely words, and they're very encouraging as well. So again, I would like to say a bit of closing. So thank you everyone for powering through tonight. Again, we improvise, adapt, and overcome. That's what being a Toastmaster is all about. Now I would like to pass the floor back to Mr. President Shanur Nizam.
Yeah. Thank you again, Megat, for coming back finally and finishing up your evaluation. And I shall continue asking for guest comment. Do we have any other guests who would like to share their thoughts about tonight's meeting? Christopher, or would you like to share your thoughts?
Hello?
Hello, yes, we can hear you.
Yes, very professional. Everyone is really doing their job, especially the one who's in charge. And I really learned a lot, especially with my fillers and things that I need to improve on. And everyone is really, really interesting to give their speeches. And they have given us a very inspiring and also informative speech. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing with us your thoughts, Christopher. Now I shall move on to the members' feedback. Do we have any member who would like to give us their feedback for tonight's meeting? Edric, would you like to give us feedback about Brunei Speakers Club if you have any?
Sure. How to say this? Okay. With all respect to other clubs, right? I gotta say that this is probably the best meeting so far. So in terms of my Toastmaster journey, so I think this is so far the best meeting, right? Because the overall, in terms of the overall meeting, especially the role takers, right? So they do it very personal feedbacks, very focused. So I really appreciate it. It's very hard to give personal feedbacks, right? Usually we just give general evaluations. You need to be very focused to be able to give personal feedback. So I really appreciate it. And I think the second feedback I want to give is people here seem to be very genuinely friendly to each other, right? So it's like they already know each other very well, and it's something pretty rare to find. So yeah, overall, I learned a lot of things that I could apply to my own clubs, and I'm really looking forward to a 10-year meeting again.
Thank you very much for your lovely feedback, Edric. Yeah, in Brunei Toastmaster, we are very close because Brunei is very small. So it's quite easy for us to engage and communicate with each other, even physically. Hopefully, when the lockdown is finally up, when we are allowed to do physical meeting next time. Okay, so now, any other business? Do we have any other business on the floor?
Me.
Yeah.
I can't switch on my video right now, but tomorrow we will have a joint meeting with Kidurong Toastmasters Club. So Otters is having one. So anyone is welcome to join us tomorrow at 7:30 online. So if you're part of Brunei Toastmasters, it will be announced at Area E3 group. Otherwise, for everybody else, do let anyone in BSC that you know or myself, if you're interested to join. Thanks, Shahnor.
Okay, thank you, Adina. Dear guests and members, please do come and support Otters Toastmasters Club with their joint meeting with Kidurong Toastmasters Club. Next, do we have any other business from BASC?
I got one.
Yeah.
So BASC will be having their monthly meeting this Friday. It will be our last meeting of the year. So if you haven't had your fill of the Brunei Advanced Speakers Club this entire term, go and have a look. We'll post a link in the group chat. You can have, you can just join in and just, get to see everyone. And yeah, come see the BASC Speakers Club. Thank you.
You heard it, ladies and gentlemen. Please do come to BASC, come to Otters tomorrow, and come to BASC on this coming Friday for their meeting. Now, for the final AOB, on Saturday, we had an area contest. So in the area contest, we have winners from each clubs to compete against each other. And from our club, we have Ted, Charles, and Adlan competing in the area. For tonight, we're going to listen their experience in competing in the area. Can I start with Teji, if you'd like to share your experience competing in the area?
Thanks, Shano. Well, I'm just going to bring up the questions that Shano gave me earlier and just speak from that. Actually, I don't know what else to share. So how's my preparation on this contest? Is there any difference competing in area versus in club in terms of pressure? I'm going to answer these two together. There is definitely a difference between club and area. Mind you, when we compete in club, we are competing with the best of the best across different clubs. The stakes are high, the pressure is extremely high. And this year, we have the honor and privilege of having those titans from BASC come down from their high throne to compete with our mere mortals. Talk about high stakes. We have people like Rosanna, we have people like Yani, we have people like Ruben, we have, lucky we don't have Ellen or Ling Ling, otherwise it would be a bloodbath. So we have all these titans coming down to fight with us for this crown. So preparation stakes are all high. What did I do? Prepare hard. I work at my script. I look at my script. I look at my delivery. I recorded myself in front of the camera every time I look at my delivery and kept working on that. And I can safely attest to the fact that because of doing so, I managed to elevate my level of proficiency in terms of public speaking one notch higher as I usually did because of all this preparation. The pressure made me go in and analyze and dissect and prepare even harder because I want to beat these Titans. Did I beat them? No, I did not. I only scored third place in table topics, and I did not even rank in human speech. But I know next time when I come in, I'll be that much better. I'm a much better speaker because of that. And hence, this is what I want to say to everyone in the upcoming club level speech, international speech and evaluation contest. Please do join, because you'll be competing, you'll be putting yourself out there, you will be elevating yourself to the next level. No better way of pushing yourself higher than joining contests. Of course, daily routine speeches will bring you up there as well, but the competition is where I feel will really elevate you one notch higher than you can usually do. So I encourage you to join. That's from me. Back to you, President.
Thank you very much, Tej, for sharing us your experience. And congratulations for winning the third place. It's very tough out there. I don't even know if I could make the top 3. Next, can we invite Charles to share with us his experience in competing in the area? Charles.
Hi, good evening, everyone. In terms of Ted, I just want to say, I think you're a Titan. Ted the Titan, you placed 3rd. I just received my certificate of participation. So Alan will be glad with that one. Very, very humbling experience. It's very, I think, when you do table topics, I know we had some new people doing table topics tonight. Eric, I think Nicholas spoke for the first time, giving some feedback. You feel a bit of jitters and butterflies. It doesn't compare to a competition. For some reason, a competition gets you riled up and ignites that fire. And I think the only way you can know that feeling, or that feeling of competition, is actually be in one. So I do encourage all members to participate in our club competitions, and then from there you can go to the area competitions. It's sort of like that big match mentality. You only know once you're in it whether or not you can handle the pressure. And like tonight, Ying, you did very well as TME in terms of the pressure. I know I would have been sweating and I'd secretly switch off my video and go panic in a corner, but you did very well. And I think the same thing is for table topics. In terms of preparation for the club competition, leading up to the competition, I was very nervous. And then for the area competition, I wasn't nervous. But when I received my topic, I literally froze and I was like, okay, what now? Sort of like a deer in headlights. And, I watched YouTube videos and I was watching all these top competitors, but you can't really prepare, I think. And in terms of one thing that I really want to take away is actually watching all the other competitors. We were talking about listening earlier tonight and the sort of the power of just listening to how people deliver and the different styles. And you can only know that if you're there and you're in it. So I felt very privileged. It was my first time competing. And as I said, I'll proudly have my participation certificate. And I definitely want to do it again because it's definitely an excellent learning experience. So thank you to all the role players who participated and all the competitors. Back to you, Shanna.
Thank you very much, Charles, for sharing with us your experience. Yes, I do agree. It can be nerve-wracking when you're up against these Titans. Next, do we have any other AOB from around the floor before I close the AOB? Going once, going twice, and gone. Now for my closing remark. So as what Tawana said, active listening is very important. So during the break time, I heard something very peculiar when Alan said, if you have quantity, you have quality. So usually people say quality over quantity, but tonight when Alan said that, it really sparked something in me. It's correct. If you want to become a better speaker or a competent leader, you need to do this a lot of time and fail a lot of time, and then from there you will become a better person, a better speaker, and then from then after you do it so many times, multiple times, you then will have quality. You will reach that quality that you are striving for. So yes, fellow guests, even though sometimes it is daunting to look at these speakers speaking confidently and calmly in this public setting, but trust me, it takes quantities for these speakers to reach up to this quality. So Guess if you want to become a better speaker, a better leader, what is a better place than joining Toastmaster? And Brunei Speakers Club will always be here every Tuesday, same Zoom link, same time, same day. And for that, we will going to meet next week, and I call this meeting adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.